Ah, shoot. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of What's New Wednesdays, Cookies Enabled. I'm your host, Will, and obviously, as you can tell, Andrew is not here with the live segment of the show, but we were able to pre-shoot earlier today and get all the goody news and cover those funny memes. So let's jump right in since we have a ton of news to cover today, but I will be behind the scenes the whole time here, chatting along with you guys just in case you jump into the browser. So don't think this is not a live show, because it definitely is. But anyway, let me get you guys into the feed, and I will see you in about 20 minutes. Hello, everyone. Obviously, it's earlier in the day. It is about 3:30 in the afternoon, and we have Andrew here with us. We're going to cover a few of our topics that we have, as well as some memes. So definitely stick around here. But yeah, so you've got some interesting topics. Not a lot of SpaceX necessarily, but kind of that
Not
same
quite
realm.
yet.
Kind of the same, you know.
Well, quick for SpaceX, they did have another successful Starlink launch this morning.
Yep.
I think that marks 4 launches in 2
Right.
weeks.
Yeah, they've been like
which,
throwing them up there pretty much.
that might, this was already planned for a while, so that might taper down
Okay.
for a little while. they did mention that they're going to, like, Starlink and Starship will kind of go onto the back burner
Okay.
a little bit, mainly because they're working on bolstering the Starlink capabilities
Gotcha.
into Ukraine right now.
Gotcha. That makes sense. You know.
What they have noticed already, though, is that there has been a lot of positive feedback and data coming from Starlink capabilities in the Ukraine.
Right.
So it's working.
Yep.
It's showing that this mega constellation of satellites is doing its job.
Yeah, it's definitely helping.
Which is great to see.
That was the whole idea.
Exactly. So they're kind of scaling back a little bit.
Right.
Hopefully, won't be too much of a delay. We'll find out. I mean,
we'll have to wait and see.
If they're spending their resources trying to support Ukraine, then take all the time you need on Starship. Take all the time you need on more Starlink and other missions.
You know.
It's a humanitarian aid, and I'd rather see that than them just ignore it and play with their big toys.
Exactly. Yeah. We don't need to see that. Just go about your business.
We're still going to see a lot this year, and I'm excited to keep an eye on it.
Right.
But we do have some other interesting space news.
We do.
In the realm of rocket launches, there's a tiny little startup. They started in 2016 called Astra Space.
Oh.
And they have mainly been launching out of, they call it I think it's the Pacific launch site, something like that, in Alaska.
Okay.
That's where they mainly launch. But they just did a launch off of Cape Canaveral. Now, before this, they did have a successful suborbital mission.
Right.
They've had a few. They're getting a little better at it. They're brand new. I mean, space is hard. It takes time.
Right.
So you're going to have a lot of things go boom until you really get what you're doing. That's known. SpaceX did that themselves. Yes. NASA. The Russian Space Administration.
So many times.
Everybody's made a lot of rockets go boom before they got it right.
North Korea, the list goes on.
You know what? They're trying, so kudos to them.
Right.
Good luck. But we do have a fun little video of their most recent launch, the first one from Cape
Canaveral. I just started it, so it's already kind of showing it take off and kind of has some trouble, but now it's floating in the air.
So the launch went off nominally.
Right, it looks great.
It was fine all the way up. It got through max Q. But once the stage separation happened is when things kind of went awry. And I guess some of the rockets on the second stage were not performing properly.
Right.
And so in the video, you see the second stage just start tumbling.
Oh, no. Yeah, and that's not what we're looking for, people. We don't want to tumble.
No.
You want a graceful fall, really.
There's really no way to recover from that when your second stage that's supposed to get into higher orbit starts spinning. They don't have the retro rocket, like the thrusters that, like a capsule or the Falcon first stages had. They just don't. No. That's not part of it.
Nope.
So that happens, you're kind of, that's all you can do.
just too bad.
It's unfortunate, but as with any launch, you learn a lot from your failures. You learn, okay, what went wrong? Then you look at the data, you look at everything else, you figure out, why did that go wrong? What can we do to prevent that in the future? And I think we'll see more coming from them. I'm excited to see more coming from them.
I think we're going to see a lot more, for sure.
I mean, I'm always going to be a SpaceX fanboy, but it's not just them.
No, there's a lot more
space exploration in general. So the more, the merrier. It's all doing something to advance the technology of space flight and human space exploration. So it sucks. I'm sorry, guys, but good luck.
Yeah, very much so. So it could have been worse. Like you said, definitely could have been a lot more. Nobody was hurt or injured, and nothing crashed into the moon. It just kind of spun out a little wonker there, but definitely a cool share. And always, like you said, it's always cool to see new businesses joining the race to get to space and to get space commercialized, because this has been a big question for a lot of us for a while. Is why, you know, we've been to space, we've been doing stuff with the space station and stuff. Why haven't we been, you know, chasing down the asteroids and things? And, you know, now that we have all these different companies trying to get in on the action, I think we're really going to start to see this pick up a little bit. So
exactly. I mean, it all comes down to funding.
Yes,
at the
absolutely.
end. You have enough money, you can get the right engineers, you can do enough tests, and when all of these space administrations from other governments put it on the back burner, don't give them enough money, you can't do much. You know,
that's just how it is sometimes.
So the private sector is really stepping up, and I'm really excited to see what they're going to come up with. So, yeah.
And we got some James Webb news as well. A little bit, kind of. Yeah.
A little bit. Well, the mirrors are getting closer to being aligned. They're not perfect yet. I know last week we showed that image of them aligning.
Yep, and I have that playing right now. I got the GIF and everything for us.
But it looks like one of the next milestones for them, one of their first research missions for it, is going to be looking at stars in our local cluster.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we're talking, I think, within 10 to 20 light years away. So it's starting off close, and then it's going to expand further. But because of the optics and how it works, this telescope can basically see through a lot of dust clouds or interstellar plasma clouds. So we'll be able to look at these stars. The article says more stars than we've ever looked at before.
Yeah, it's going to be a density like we've never experienced, which is going to be super cool to see. So, kind of like the picture here.
We're going to see, we're going to see stars that with previous telescopes we didn't have the capability to even see. So I'm really excited for that. Again, this could be one of the most monumental missions ever devised by humanity. And it's going to unlock so many secrets or make us question a lot of ideas we had about space and what everything's like. So it's been in the works for so many years. Who is it? Smarter Every Day is one of my favorite YouTube channels. And I think I've mentioned it before. The cool thing is, his name is Destin. His dad worked on the James Webb telescope.
Oh, that's cool. That's so
his
cool.
job, he worked in the, I'm trying to remember what, metrology is what they call it. Basically, the study of measurements.
Okay, cool.
And the video I watched, and honestly, we should link to it. I'll have to send that to you.
Yeah, definitely send me the link. I'll throw it in the descriptions and whatnot.
They go through how they used models, like computer models of the solar shield, the sun shield, to protect the telescope. And his job was basically taking lots of laser measurements of the sails to make sure that they fit with the model and they knew that it would work in space. And it's extremely complex. You have tons of lasers, sensors, and basically by creating these points based on spheres and lasers bouncing into each other, they could create a 3D visualization or measurement of the solar shield and make sure that it fit with what their model was supposed to be.
Absolutely, yeah.
So they would know what happens. There's so much that goes into it. There are 5 layers of the sun shield spaced apart, and they're designed specifically in a way so that all of that heat energy, especially from the mechanics and all the electronics at the bottom of the telescope, which do emit heat, where it doesn't build up, it bounces along
kind of like
the gaps and dissipates through. Yeah. There are actually tons of tiny holes in the solar shields, I found out. And he goes into that in the video. Little holes, and they stay there. They're placed in strategic positions because once it's folded up and it's in the payload bay, as the temperature changes during its mission through our atmosphere, the last thing you want is for all of that air that's still in between them to blow it up like a weather balloon, because then you destroy it. So these holes were designed to allow that air to dissipate or the temperature to regulate while on its way into orbit and eventually to the L2 point. So, yeah, we'll have to post a link to that video.
That sounds awesome. I know it's not what you're seeing right
interesting.
Now. Oh, yes.
No, he's got a fantastic channel. We always promote ourselves, but I like to promote
we
them.
want to promote
so
others
check
as
out
well,
Smarter Every Day. He does some incredible videos on so many different topics, but he has a very close connection to James Webb. His dad said, he asked him, "Are you ready for the project to be over?" He just says, "I'm tired."
I'm tired.
He's been doing this.
Of course he's ready for it to be over.
We worked on it for 6 years. Doing nothing but taking laser measurements for 6 years.
Oh, no,
that's going to take a lot and they do it. And it's a 24/7 project. So he's pulling all-nighters. That's a lot of work.
Yeah. Too much.
Yeah.
Oh, man. But yes, can't wait to see more. Again, just the density of stars that we're going to see is going to be awesome. So always getting some good news.
We got about 3 months until we start getting some really awesome images. So we'll have to keep an eye on that.
Okay, so now this is the part of our episode when we jump off and do some awesome fun memes, as usual. And, man, we have some awesome references with these memes today, let me tell you. Okay, so we got 2 right off the bat, and your first one here is one of my favorites, which is Mr. Roger Rogers' Neighborhood. And I just love this because everybody should know, obviously that's not Mr. Rogers in the background. And if you didn't know that, let me show you what he actually looked like, because I have a picture that's almost identical to this one. There you go. There's Mr. Rogers. That's what he should have looked like. And if you don't know the Roger Roger we're referencing, that's from Star Wars.
Everybody knows who Mr. Rogers is. I hope.
I would hope so, yes. If you don't, download
the younger crowd may not. If you're younger and you don't know who Mr. Rogers is, go and figure that out, because
he's an awesome guy.
He might be one of the best human beings ever to grace this planet.
Yeah, probably. He was just such a sweet, generous guy, and just did nothing but just tried to just better society and be a good neighbor. And that's literally all the whole show was about, too. Well, it had a fairy tale side as well, which was cool. And very creative. Being a kid, it was awesome. Probably now I'd be like, what am I watching? But
fun fact, all of the music in Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, he wrote.
Wow, I did not know that.
He has a degree in music composition.
I didn't know that, but I didn't know he wrote all the music for it. Yep. That's really cool.
Yeah, he wrote it all. Huh. He wrote it all.
Interesting.
So, yeah.
Wow.
But obviously we have the reference to those stupid droids from the prequels.
Gosh, I hate these guys so much. They're just so annoying. Roger.
We've all heard, Roger. But so you have Mr. Roger Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yep. Which is awesome.
And before the shoot, Will and I were joking. When I hear that, it makes me think of Airplane.
Yes.
And I'm sure if you haven't watched that movie, go watch it. It's so good.
I'm pretty sure that's still on Netflix. Might not be anymore, but I'm pretty sure that's where I last saw it.
It's somewhere.
So. Yeah.
It's somewhere. You can rent it or watch it somewhere, I guarantee
it's a classic.
But you have that, that movie was very good at playing on very intellectual puns and outright, they didn't the comedy was just in your face.
It really was.
Everything was obvious.
Yeah.
But that's what made it special.
Mm-hmm. They really had never done that before in any movie ever, really, until that was done. And Caddyshack actually was supposed to come out before Airplane, and that I'll get. There's a whole nother story behind that. And that is also kind of the same kind of humor, where it's just right in your face, blatant, hilarious.
That's also a fantastic movie.
Great movie, and not fitting the Roger reference, unfortunately, but still a great one.
Oh, yeah. But you get that in Airplane, you have just that one little scene. The alliteration of it is amazing, where they're getting ready to take off, and the guy in air traffic control named Roger says, "You're good to go." And so he says, Roger, we have Clarence. What's our vector, Victor?
Yeah. I show in the part here that says, "What's your vector, Victor?" As he starts to shift it into gear.
And they did the same thing. I think it was in Airplane 2. You had the pilots. You had over, under, and done, which I'm assuming was supposed to be spelled D-U-N-N. But over, under, done.
Yeah.
How would you like your steaks? How would you like your eggs? A little under over, or a little underdone. And Dunn goes, "Sir." So they played with the puns. We've all heard them.
Gosh,
Leslie Nielsen's "Surely You Can't Be Serious." I am serious, and don't call me Shirley. All of that.
Yes.
They're just fantastic movies. Those are their cult favorites that I think they're both known. At least the first one is on the list of one of the most culturally significant movies
Absolutely, ever. I've ever made. It's just so freaking funny, and they just did it so right and plainly. Like, even when they're pulling up to the airport at the beginning, you can hear the announcers arguing over something. They're like, "Oh, you park in the blue zone, not the red zone," and it's just so funny. You just have to pay attention to everything, because everything's funny.
If you're watching it, you can easily miss that PA.
Yes.
It's from, what is it? The red zone is for unloading and loading only. There was no parking in the white zone.
Yeah, the white zone, no parking in the white zone.
The white zone is for loading and unloading only. And they just keep going, and you find out it's a married couple bickering.
Oh, God.
And
I don't remember what there was something like the coffee. I don't remember. It was something super stupid. I don't know.
They were bickering about abortion.
Oh, were they really?
I remember.
Man, now I got to go back and watch that scene again.
Because it's like, he tells his wife, "Don't start with that red shit again."
Oh,
I know what
yes,
this is all
now
about.
I remember.
Says, "You want me to have an abortion?"
Yeah. Anyway.
These are topics that a lot of movies these days would not get away with. You see the plane Air Israel.
Oh my gosh, yes.
And
it has a beard
and
they really...
Yeah, that would not fly these days.
I mean, the only people that would pull something like that is South Park. The South Park guys would totally do something like that. I mean, they did it with the Muhammad episode, which was bleeped from live TV because of what they did, which actually wasn't bad at all. If you own the season and were able to watch it unbleeped, you realize that they didn't actually do anything bad at all.
You're going to see that. I mean, look, this was made in the 80s, so
80s were different.
It was a much different time, and
it's not a kid's movie.
Still, though,
I will say that there is full frontal in that movie. So make sure there aren't any kids in there, because it does have a PG rating, if I remember correctly. And that is wrong. It should be R.
I'll let the kids see it.
Anyway, next meme. Next meme is just as funny. It says, "So why'd you get fired?" Here's how I got fired. Now, speaking of people...
Now, I know this has to be Photoshop, because or something weird, because I don't think you could get one of those things up to a high enough speed to take a jump off that ramp.
I mean, how many tons do they weigh? Like 10? I mean, so you got to put a rocket on that thing to get it off the ground. I mean...
But I know some people that would try to do that. Honestly, I would try to do
I
that.
would too. This actually looks like fun.
Mm-hmm.
You'd probably just get up to the top and then just fall over. Like, it wouldn't even go off. You know what I mean? Like, full throttle. It's just like, eh.
You were mentioning that reminded you of the scene from Pirates of Silicon Valley.
It did, yes. So here is a mugshot of Bill Gates. And no, this is not fake or Photoshop. This is legitimate Bill Gates when he was like 19 or 20. And he gets arrested for reckless driving, which has happened a couple times in his life. And probably one reason why he doesn't drive anymore. But in the movie Pirates of Silicon Valley...
No, he wasn't. He wasn't arrested for reckless driving for the bulldozer.
No, not for the bulldozer, no.
But that did happen.
Yeah, so in the movie Pirates of Silicon Valley, there is a night where he's out. They had just, I think, sold or made a deal with IBM, so they're super, super happy, him and one of his team members. And they're just driving around, eating pizza, talking computer crap in the car.
Super, super drunk, I'm
so
sure.
Drunk.
They
so obviously drunk. And anyway, so they get out of the car because they find two bulldozers on the side of the road, and Bill wants to race them, obviously. So they do,
yep.
And it's all in the movie. And yes, this legitimately happened, but I don't want to get into an infringement lawsuit by showing it to you guys because Warner Brothers still owns the movie, but won't put it in a streaming service for you guys. So sorry, everybody, you have to buy it.
Yeah, we'd get a copyright infringement on us again.
Yep, and this is just the trailer, so hopefully I don't get hit with this. But but check out this movie.
I think the trailer's,
I'll post a link below to buy it. It is awesome. It's the most accurate Microsoft and Apple explanation of how they got started. Literally, there's not a movie out there that does a better job, other than maybe the Steve Jobs, like we pointed out before with Ashton Kutcher. He did a really good job.
Ashton Kutcher.
That movie was excellent.
Was, I think, pretty close. A lot of the drama in Pirates of Silicon Valley was obviously over-dramatized.
Way over.
But the story was pretty close.
It's dead on, pretty much. You can pretty much flip through news articles matching up with what you're watching in that movie. It's so close. Mm-hmm. So, interesting to say. Anyway, so.
Oh, yeah.
I got another meme for you guys that's a little different. And this one says, let's build a pool and take the ladder away. And it shows Bart and Lisa kind of over the little Simpsons house. And then you got Homer inside. He's the Sim. He says, no! I love how it shows his character in the little like corner reticle, like panicking state as well. Like he is freaking out. And it's still got the little Sims 4 reticle over there, which The Sims 4 is and if you don't know The Simpsons, check them out. That's on Disney Plus right now. I think you can watch all of them on Disney Plus, believe it or not. And Sims 4, if you don't know that, is EA's probably most successful game, if you want to even call it that. It's probably their most money-making game that they've ever come up with. Where you just
outside of any of their sports games.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, outside of like the Madden, NHL, NFL stuff. Yeah.
If you don't know about The Sims or The Simpsons, where have you been in the last several decades?
Welcome back to Earth.
Yeah.
Here's what you missed. So check out those games.
Hope the aliens treated you well.
They are awesome. Yeah, like the Sims games are so fun, and you could easily... I don't know if you can actually take away stuff like that in The Sims 4. I don't know if they allow you to do that. They might not.
Oh, you can do anything in those. It's still
Is it still the same stuff? Like I know in 2 and 3 you could easily like do whatever you wanted to the players, and that was...
Oh, yeah, they have mobile versions today as well.
Oh yeah, that
everything.
was yeah, I don't really care.
We all did that. We all would, just mess with our Sims in one way or another.
Oh yes.
I didn't as much. I just used it to build cool houses.
Yeah, that's what I did. I love playing with the houses.
Storylines or generations.
Yep.
I just built houses. I barely even made families.
Yep. Okay, and the last one we got for you guys here is an awesome one. This is a new dog disposal system that flies dog poo bags with helium to float them away forever. Float-A-Poo dog waste disposal system. Now, this is hilarious. And I love the fact that it says that it floats away forever. Like it just, you're not dematerializing it or something because it floats away. It's not going to the sun, for crying out loud. Like,
fill it, float it, forget it.
Okay, now, for those of you that want to order some Float-A-Poo, This is not a real item, unfortunately, and this is a Prank-O box that you can order now from the Prank-O website. I will show you a website of another one here called the Bathe and Brew, which is a coffee maker with a shower head on it, and it shows a lady standing there in her bathrobe drinking coffee next to her shower. Mmm, tasty. Now, obviously, you put like an iPad or shoes or something in this box and you repackage it, but it just gets a great laugh. They're super awesome. And I just died laughing when I saw the Float-A-Poo, because I just kept imagining, like the bag getting to your neighbor's yard and then popping and the poo falls on them or whatever. Like, oh my gosh.
Flies 10 miles away and finally gets high enough. And just drops on some poor person's lawn.
Now, in our day, people used to put poo in bags and light it on fire and put it on people's doors. You could almost do that now with a drone and, like, put poo in a bag and then fly a drone to, like, 2 neighborhoods over and drop it on somebody's yard, and they wouldn't know, so.
Don't try that at home.
Yeah, please,
we are not condoning drone dropping of poo on your neighbors. Do not do that. We are not responsible. Yes. We do not take any...
I'm not saying
don't do
Float-A-Poo wasn't a good idea. I'm just saying it's not necessarily legal, probably.
Cookies Enabled does not condone such acts.
Anyway, thank you, Andrew, for tuning in today and for your awesome news articles that you brought us. And I will be taking over the show here in just a second and bringing you guys a couple more cool articles that I found throughout the week. But thanks for sticking around. I'll see you guys in just a second. And thank you, Andrew. I appreciate you coming and giving us those awesome memes as well, because they were pretty great. So thanks again.
Always. Very quick,
yes.
To end my section with next week, I'm hopefully going to have a little bit of more news to talk about. It's 4 days until I get to meet my little brother.
Yes. So excited.
I'm definitely going to try to record some content. I don't know if we'll put it into the live show or how we're going to do it. But in one way, y'all are going to meet him. I hope. I'm excited. Yes. I'm still... I've been riding an emotional high for over a week, and the days are dragging longer and longer as it gets close. You know what it's like.
Yep, I know.
Like those 2 days before Christmas.
Oh my gosh,
for a week.
You're like, I can't wait for that. Whatever.
Like, can it be Sunday yet? Mm-hmm. I am really excited.
Oh man!
But I'm gonna have some fun news to share with y'all, and
hopefully, Beethoven episode. Hopefully, will be coming out on Monday as well, and then.
We're planning on it. I've got a good amount edited. I've just got to make my computer.
Hopefully.
I got to fight with it to make it deal with the big files. But we're getting there.
I know. You definitely.
And I hope everybody enjoyed the performance that we posted.
So cool.
It seemed like it got some good.
It's over 20 views already, which is great. I think it's barely been a week as well, so that's awesome. So
that's good.
Very cool.
I mean, it shows you how tiny we are that we get excited over 20 views.
Like,
but you know what? I don't care. 20 views is 20 views.
This is why we need you to share. Share.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, that one. Andy had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
So give it a listen if you haven't. It's a wonderful piece.
It is. Yeah,
and
it's a great piece
week,
for sure.
He'll give you a little more detail into the piece, a little history of Beethoven, and it's going to be fun. So check it out.
But anyway, I will see you guys in just a second. Thanks again, Andrew. We will talk to you next week. Okay, now I'm back. Sorry, everybody. I always forget to turn my microphone back on. But I have 3 last topics for you guys today. And hopefully my background doesn't freeze on me, because that's been an issue lately. But I got 3 last topics, and they're all kind of on different stages here. I usually try to connect my last few topics together. And it didn't really work out today, but that's okay. So the first one I had for you guys, I actually discovered by accident while I was just hanging out through my weekend. I discovered this through an advertisement on the TV and did some research and found out that it's actually not totally made up science. There actually is some science behind this device, so let's look into it. Now, this device is called the Lumen device, and it is this little handheld device that you actually blow into, you actually exhale through, and it has this flow channel as it's showing you here. And it has a CO2 sensor, as well as I think a moisture sensor and an air pressure sensor, so it can detect how much or a flow meter. So it's detecting how much air is, how are you pushing really hard or pulling really hard, inhaling, exhaling. And this thing will actually monitor specifically the CO2 that you are exhaling. And apparently that is linked to your metabolism. So if you have a high metabolism and you're burning off stored fat, you have a different CO2 level than when you are storing fat and burning muscle. And so the device gets to know you specifically, and it relays all of this information to your phone, which is even more impressive that they actually have an app for this. Now, there's a bunch of stuff on their website you can go to that will explain all of this and dive into it, and it is a little pricey. I think the most basic plan was $299. It's not the device itself that's expensive, it's the fact that you have to have like a year subscription. And are you trying to go for health benefits or lose weight, or what different plan are you going for? This can customize your food to help boost your diet and boost your metabolism, help you sleep better. I mean, this thing is supposed to be kind of like what your smartwatch is, but even better, just because it's, instead of just checking your blood and your pulse and your temperature, it's actually checking something valuable other than just your oxygen level, which this doesn't even check oxygen. In fact, they explain that in the deeper, longer description on their website, which again is all posted below in the description, will really dive into the fact that this does not have an oxygen sensor at all. And that's what distinctly stands out differently than other devices, especially this one. And now I think it looks handy dandy enough that most people could carry this around, throw it in a gym bag, purse, whatever, backpack, something very easily. And according to the website, it lasts days without having to charge it, or sometimes weeks apparently, which is pretty impressive. But I don't even, there wasn't a ton of website or science on their website, but if you just search these CO2 machines, this is definitely a science that has been used legitimately for a while now. When you go to the hospital and you do one of these tests, they have these giant machines they got to hook you up to, and it measures exactly how much you're inhaling and exhaling. It's all these tubes and a blood pressure cuff and all these different things. You're on this like bike or a treadmill, running or biking, and it's a real pain in the butt. Nobody wants to do it. It's kind of a stress test if you guys have ever had to do one of those. And this is again just focusing on the CO2 level, and then you input information through the app, like what you're eating, what your weight is, how you feel that day, how long you slept, stuff like that, and then poof, it gives you all this information and a good chart between 1 and 5 of if you're burning fat, if you're burning muscle, all this different stuff, which is handy dandy, really cool. Didn't hate the idea, but again, if you've tried everything and nothing works, this is probably not a terrible idea. I'd definitely give it a shot. Sorry, there's a neighbor going by that's quite loud. Hopefully you didn't have to hear that. But anyway, so that's Lumen, and I thought that was pretty cool. I thought you guys would enjoy that. I have 2 other topics. My second to last topic here is about possibly saving some energy for your house. Now, here in Michigan, we have to deal with winter coldness, and I'm sure a good chunk of the United States and the world have to do the same thing. And on this particular article, this was actually based out of the UK, believe it or not, but is all about heat loss from the houses in general, and specifically not buildings, not factories, specifically houses, and ways to save and this energy that's lost through the house heat wise, and then reuse it later when you need it. So a good example is, let's say you are in a territory like I don't know, where you get constant sunlight and your house is getting really good direct sun good chunk of the time, and that heats up the house from the outside, right? So now they have a way to absorb that energy and actually store it for later that night when the temperature is really cold and you have to go turn your heat on. Instead of actually turning your heat on, it will release the heat that was stored from the sun, and voila, your house is warm and you have a huge energy savings. So how does this work? This sounds magical. Oh my gosh, how do I get this now? Well, unfortunately, there are only a few machines that actually do this to date, And NASA and a few big heavy hitters have the engineering patents for it until now. So now there are two new advances that are coming out. One is called PCM and TCM, and I'm going to have to kind of dive into this really quickly here. So PCM is principle of phase change material. I don't know, it sounds crazy. Lots going on here. Essentially, you have a solid, and when it is solid, it's cold. And when you add water or temperature difference or energy or something like that, and in this case, according to the table, it's either temperature. If you add energy, your solid is going to turn to a liquid, and the temperature is going to go up. So, and if you add temperature, it will go from a solid to a liquid, and you'll have energy output, is another way of looking at it, and that's exactly what they're doing here. So that's exactly what PCM is. You're changing a physical principle or matter, like this clay rock essentially, and it's converting from, it's actually being stored as it's drying out by the sun. It's gathering this energy and storing it to then later be repurposed into the house using fans and air ducts and whatnot to blow this heat around as the night comes and the house cools down, and you want to cool the house. So voila, this could definitely warm the house essentially. So this is kind of cool. It also has ways of keeping the house cool on the inside during hot days as well. And in this little illustration, they have it on the roof of the house. So as the sun is hitting the house, it's drying out that surface, which is absorbing the heat, keeping it cool on the inside and nice and toasty on the outside, but storing all that energy and heat for later use at night. Really cool idea, super awesome. I mean, again, that's only one of the two. So the second one is called TCM, and this one is a little bit complicated because there's different ways you can implement this one. There are hot water, cold water mixtures that need to be involved in this as well. So this wouldn't be a bad idea if you had, if you already had maybe heated floors in your house where you're already running water through them. This could be a good way of doing that. So another illustration here is using solar panels instead of water to charge and restore the device. Now again, before, this one's a little different. You have a giant kind of canister that is your unit, your TCS. Wow, I have a really hard time saying that. I'm so sorry. But yeah, so the TCS is the thermochemical storage, and what this does is that it as it's cooled and to ambient temperature, the energy is stored, and when it is water is flowed through it and moisture is re-entered into it, it releases that energy that was stored into it. So it's a little very similar to the one before, but it's a different principle, kind of using the same idea. This is all coming out of it's all coming out of where is this coming out of? Where did they put that in the article? University of Sheffield. Sheffield. I'm probably saying that wrong, and I'm so sorry. I should have looked this up a little bit better. Or the Active Building Center Research Program, which is essentially the head division that's looking over and doing all of this. Now, again, this is more the UK right now, but I think this is going to blow up the world. I think this is really going to change how homes can use energy, store energy, regurgitate this energy, and reheat the house later or give you electricity to use later in the house. This is a really cool idea. They said you could save thousands of dollars a year, if not hundreds, depending on how much you're currently paying with gas in your house. So, very cool. Last topic of the day should be no surprise to you guys. Obviously, there is a big situation going on in the Ukraine, and with Russia kind of attacking, and this has not been fun for the Ukrainians, unfortunately, nor for a good chunk of the world, for many reasons. And a lot of people are stating, including one particular CNET article, that their internet could be becoming splintered because of the fact that a lot of companies are shutting out Russia. Now, these companies include Facebook and a few other big ones, like YouTube and whatnot as well. and TikTok was another one that's restricting access to that area. And there's a whole handful. But now there's another internet service provider that's officially shutting everything down over there. And this provider is known as Cogent. And I'm hopefully saying that right. I don't know. So as you can see in this map here, all these little blue lines are actually owned and operated by Cogent Communications. And they connect all these different countries, not just to the globe, but to Russia and China and India, Spain, a whole bunch of the UK. And as you can see, they go off into the ocean in a bunch of different directions. So everybody's like, well, wait a minute, if you're going to shut off Russia, which is kind of like right in the center of this map, isn't that going to kind of splinter the internet? So everywhere it's going to have to just kind of go around and stuff. And the answer to this is yes, but no. They're not trying to necessarily break the internet, as I put in my little let's break the internet thing here. No, this is more or less again, it's really just going to hurt the people in Russia. Anybody in Russia is going to be directly affected by this, and especially if Cogent was their service provider, and if it's the only provider they had for their area in Russia, they are screwed, and they will not be able to get any content anywhere at all. I'm not even, no dial tone or nothing. Now, that is something they may be able to resort to in Russia, is using a dial tone to dial out through a landline. But I don't know what, support that is over there, or if there even is support. I know here in the United States, there are emergency dial lines for, like, global crises like this. You can use a dial-up modem to dial out across the line in case of an emergency. So you can do that. But this is kind of a big deal. A lot of people have been having issues with, seeing what's been going on with the Russia-Ukraine thing. And I think this is a great way of companies and the whole world just pushing back. I don't think this is going to splinter the internet at all. I think the internet's going to remain just fine. Companies like Facebook and YouTube and TikTok and Twitter and all of them that are pulling away from Russia will just build a standalone server that's a dummy server that is just marked Russia or whatever, they want there, and everything that's accessed will just go to that, and it'll just display oops, you went somewhere you weren't supposed to. So this isn't really breaking the internet at all. It's just that it's not actually going to Russia anymore. It's going to get probably most of the way there before a hub or something redirects it to somewhere else. So don't worry about it, guys. I think CNET might have been a little pushing the fabric of what's acceptable in this world of, if it was like Russia, China, Japan, and a few other countries all shutting off the internet, we might have a problem then. Otherwise, I think we're good. Plus, with Starlink over there's really nothing to worry about, because Starlink is going to connect the globe even if whole sections of the ground cabling go down. So don't even worry about it. Again, false alarm, everybody. Anyway, I hope you guys had a great show. This was awesome. I didn't unfortunately see any viewers pop in or out, and I had no comments today, so it was a very quiet show compared to last week. But that is okay. Hopefully you guys have a great week. I will see you guys all next week, and hopefully Monday we will have the Beethoven episode out. I know the 21st we will have another episode out as well about the chip shortage. So check in on the March 21st to learn about the chip shortage. And again, I'm sure we're going to have tons more information. But again, I know I learned something new, and I hope you guys did too. I will see you guys next time. Have a great night, everybody.